And as someone who's been shooting movies everywhere except Hollywood since the late 80s, I got so sick and tired of working, with all due respect, Canadian crews, Canadian actors in Toronto, Winnipeg, Vancouver, multiple times, Louisiana, Texas, Connecticut, Pennsylvania. Why aren't those jobs here? And when they put through this tax incentive, it was a great day. And as Mitch said, rightly so, not for me. I didn't make a dime. Much like the Purple Rose Theater Company, that was created for a lot of reasons, one of which was for that 21-year-old kid I used to be. And now that 21-year-old kid, many of them who are right here, who I know, have an opportunity that I didn't have. So I like George Clooney, I like Clint Eastwood. I don't really care about them. What I care about are the people that George Clooney and Clint Eastwood hired. What I care about are the businesses around which those movies that are affected financially by those movies being in the area. For instance, my brother has a lumber company. And if you've been paying attention at all, there are lumber companies closing all over America, and yes, inside the state of Michigan, left, right, and sideways. How my dad and brother kept their two little lumber companies open, I have no idea. But they did. And my brother's lumber company is in Bridgewater, Michigan. And when the incentive came in, Drew Barrymore was one of the first movies into Ann Arbor, and she looked around and she needed lumber. So she found a close lumber company. So before you jump, I didn't have anything to do with it. It happened to be within, it was close. And they didn't ask how much a piece of plywood was. They asked, how fast can you get it here? Can you have it by Tuesday at 9? And so he did that. And then he delivered, and they paid him, and they left. Then Rob Reiner came in. He asked Drew Barrymore's people, where'd you get your lumber? And not how much was it. Did you come and did you get it on time? They said yes. And there were 4 or 5 movies after that. He said it brought in $200,000 worth of business. He kept people on the payroll because of the tax incentive. He didn't have to lay people off, which is kind of the thing to do, isn't it? One of the things Gary told me was he made a movie way back when the first incentive came in, and he said he brought 80 people with his crew. And he had 80 people on the crew, and he had to bring damn near all 80 of them. The second movie he did, which was just this past December, he brought 14 people. That means 66 people in Michigan. Here's the kicker. One of the drivers that took us from base camp up to the set was a Teamster. He'd been laid off by the auto company or however, he lost his job. His house was foreclosed. Marriage was on the rocks. Lost his car. The tax incentive came in, and he was been working steadily ever since. He's left an apartment. His marriage was back together, and he went to a Ford dealership and bought 2 cars. So now let's ask the Ford salesman at the dealership what he thinks about the tax incentive. Because that Ford salesman, based on that 2 cars he just bought, which he didn't think he'd get or that he'd sold, he went off and bought a ring for his wife for her birthday. So now let's ask the jeweler where he bought the ring what he thinks about the tax incentive. Don't send in your comments that I'm here to get Tom Cruise money. That's bullshit. ready to, he called the meeting on December 9th. He wanted to talk to me about the tax incentive. At his request, I was honored that he asked. There are guys here who know the numbers far better than I do. So I was there just basically being anecdotal. And some of the stuff I've already told you, I told him. Before I even sat down, he said, I don't want to kill it. Now, I'm an actor. One of the tools of my trade is to remember things. And that's accurate. I told him about the lumberyard. I told him about the Teamster. And you know what? He goes, I know. He recognized it. I was sitting with a guy who was going to be governor who cared. He gave me the impression he cared, he understood, and that he got it. He wanted to talk about a reduction, about a cap. We said no numbers. He made no commitments to me. I didn't say he did. But we ended our meeting, and I felt like I was preaching to the choir. And the last thing he said to me was, and it's not just my decision. I said, oh, okay. I felt pretty good about it. I went to people and said, I think it's going to be all right. And then he went to Lansing and did what he did. So I'm accurate when I said that I felt like I was talking to a politician. He said one thing, I don't want to kill it. Then he went to Lansing and said 25 million, and then he did kill it. Said one thing, did another. So I'm accurate. So don't tell me I'm not. The other thing is the guy I met with, as I said, cares. The guy I met with gets it. The guy I met with, I think, wants to move on this issue. It is up to you. We can only do so much. We can only stand here. The cameras will only come once or twice. It's up to you people. Every one of you people has got to get on the ass of your representative in Lansing. You've got to do the due diligence. You've got to get in there. You've got to email. You've got to call them. You've got to find out who it is. You've got to do all that heavy lifting, or this thing's going to go away. It is up to you to hound them, to let them have it. Because I believe that if the legislature decides that this is worth keeping, they'll go to the governor, and they're going to find a governor. I hope, the governor that I sat with, the one who cares, the one who gets it, the one who understands, the one who truly knows a good business when he sees one. Thank you.